Okay, Friday the 13th October, we're looking at the yen pairs for the London session. So what you see on the screen is the yen index, and you'll see that we had no Asian range break high or low for the majority of the first half of the London session. We get the break high here at 9.45. Okay, so at 9.45, let's say we're looking to long the yen. 9.45 puts us here. Now, in hindsight, it was a great trade. Went 90 pips. The problem is, looking at it there, you've seen this massive move already behind you. And, well, not only that, on the GJ, this is the GJ, we had the Asian range low taken and the Asian range high. So this is a perfect double liquidity take to take it down. However, because we use this yen index as our primary indicator, unfortunately it didn't help us. Okay, and you'll see exactly the same thing happened. So this is the EJ. Asian range low got taken, Asian range high also taken, and you had this big move down. AJ kind of similar, Asian range low taken, high is not taken, but it goes up to the midnight open and starts to reject. Break of structure on the 5 minute. Very good trade down. So question is, how do you trade this then when the yen index isn't helping us take the signal? Because if you look at this, okay, first of all, this 7 o'clock is an Asian range break low. So the yen isn't helping us. What you do, you go to the pound and see how the pound's performing. If the pound is weak, ideally if the pound is breaking its Asian range low, that's the perfect setup in the absence of the yen supporting the trade. So assuming you took this, it would have been a losing trade anyway. Hopefully you could have minimized your loss. Why? Because immediately after this close, we're closing back in. However, because of the wick, you stay in the trade. When this closes, however, at 7.10, it's a different story, because it's a clear rejection and it's closed above the prior candle's wick. So there's reason to believe it's going up. So again, the yen was no help at all for either this break trade or the fake trade. So what do we do in this instance? So let's go look at the pound from between 7 and 7.10. So the 7 o'clock. So first of all, these lines here, the blue lines, that's your Asian range high and low. So we haven't had the break of either one. Okay, what we have had at 7, however, was this structure just got broken. So you probably would have gone short on that pound yen and you would have lost. Okay, by 7.10, it's not really providing you anything. There's not a very strong narrative you can take from this. So yeah, the question is whether you would have taken the trade or not. It's hard to say, because you've got pretty much the same thing forming. Yeah, you've got a similar thing forming down here. So Asian range break trade, and then this is actually a bit more difficult. So you would have taken the full loss on this, because we don't get the close. You don't want to change your bias from an Asian range break to a fake until and unless you get the close back inside the Asian range, and that doesn't happen till here. And then even when this happens, you'll see, look, it's not closing above the wicks, whereas the yen, when it came in, it did close above its wick. So that's a more bullish indication. So if you were going to take one, it would possibly be the close of the 7.10 as opposed to this 7.21. So that's GJ and EJ. Yeah, it's always easier in hindsight. To be honest, you probably wouldn't have taken that because you didn't have enough confluence. Okay. This AJ is also interesting. So look, we have the Asian range. We don't have an Asian range break. What we have is a wick below, and these ones usually, they seem to work more often than not. So wicks below, you wait for the next candle to print. It's another wick below with a close in and an engulfer. That's a good sign to go long. Okay, so your stop is call it 10 pips. I mean, it's less than 10. We'll call it 10 pips. Your target will probably be there. So there's an easy 3 to 1. It doesn't go 3 to 1, but you could take partials, or at the very least, you would get out at break even. So we've already said the yen isn't helping us. So what do? The yen index isn't helping us. You go look at what the Aussie's doing at the same time. So Friday 13th, Asian session, here we are. So what time does this happens? So as soon as I see this, I'm interested. 6:25 close, and it's exactly the same. Okay, so look, this is an aggregate of these 5 pairs. AJ is not part of this composite. So the fact that it's broken its own Asian range low, taken the Asian range low and closed back in immediately, this would be a valid factor of confluence to take this AJ up and hopefully get, you know, ideally Asian high, but you'd have to manage it depending on what you saw happening on the yen. So you could have got that trade. Okay, then the next trade is on the GJ, right? So we took lows, we took highs, then all of a sudden we're getting wicks above, okay? But we don't go short yet. Why? Because we haven't closed inside the Asian range. We do just about close in here. So if you went for a short here, tight stop, you would have got taken out. Okay, so that is at 740. On the EJ, we don't get the take. Actually, we do, yes. At 810, so at 810, we get the wick above and the close in. So you could start looking for a short, maybe on a 1 minute from anywhere around here. You probably would have got stopped out if you had a tight stop. Okay, but don't be discouraged, because very often this is what happens. You get the setup, the logic and everything behind it is right, but they'll take you out only to go in the direction that you were going to go in. So if you get your setup again, so again, we go above here. We don't take the Asian range break on this one, all right? Because we still have a potential setup, a Judas setup, and the yen is not. If the yen was confirming, you could take that as an ARB, but you don't. When this closes down, engulfing, you can look for the Asian range fake. So this close of the 755. We said yen already, 755. It isn't really helping. 750. Yeah, we're still kind of down. It's not clear. It's not clear. Price needs to move away clearly from the midnight open for you to get a decent bias. So we're going to go look at the pound. Okay, we want to see some pound weakness coming in at the close of the 755. So 755 is around here. So we exactly the same. We've had the engulfer, we've had the take of the Asian high. 755. That is enough to start looking for that GJ short. Okay, and although on the aggregate pound does come back once more to take liquidity, that is enough for us. If we just saw that happening at the same time, that's enough for you to get in on the GJ. So our best easiest entry is just to pull back to the engulfed candle, 15 pip stop, that's your target, easy 2 to 1 down there. Okay, on the EJ it happened a bit later. So in the EJ we're getting a lot of wicks around here, and what's confusing about this is that you have the Asian range high and it's pretty much at exactly the same point of the what do you call it, the ODR high, and we do get a close above there, but it immediately rejects wick and we're closing back inside. So it's kind of confusing. So at this point, so let's say we're at 830 now, okay? 830, what's happening on the yen at 830? That's 840, it's still not clear, okay? We need a clear move away from this midnight open. So the yen again is not helping us. What is the euro doing at 830? So euro Friday 13th 830 is not showing weakness yet, so you can't take it yet, right? As soon as it starts taking this minor liquidity or even this liquidity here, okay, so if it took this liquidity which it does here, you want to wait for some kind of a break of structure. You can go down to 1 minute, 2 minutes, it's up to you, but we don't get any break of structure. We're just sticking with the 5 minute now. However, when we get this liquidity take on the euro immediately followed by displacement. Displacement, why? Because we're closing above this previous structure. So at 9:10, this is confirming to us we want to be short on the euro. So where does that put us on the EJ at 9:10? Puts us exactly there. We've got exactly the same setup. We've just broken structure. You enter from a pullback of structure. Yeah, that's probably the best place to enter. If you put it any higher, you wouldn't have got it. Okay, so as long as this to here, it's about 15 pips, you can enter there and it's a good trade.